BBC iPlayer, and this is something that I have seen called I Being Unreasonable? The answer to that usually with me is a resounding yes, I am being unreasonable. But this is a Daisy May Cooper starring and written by show, along with, I've forgotten the other woman's name. Sidley. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up before the end of the show. But it's and I'm not sure. Have you guys ever seen This Country, the TV show This Country, which stars Daisy May Cooper?
I'm aware
I believe
of it without having seen it.
Yeah, know of it, but yeah, also not seen it.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I know of it, and I've heard people raving about it. But that was the big thing that Daisy May Cooper that brought her to attention, and she's now popped in a whole bunch of different comedic type things, and she seems to be given at the moment the BBC like her, and so she was in something called Witchfinder General, I know, and then now this is something that she's created, and the plot in this one is you kick off by meeting this woman, and she's married, she has a son, and she's a very, very irresponsible mother. So the kind of mother who is like asleep on the sofa in the morning because she got drunk the night before, and a kid comes into the room and goes, "I've got to get to school. Come on, are we going to go to school?" And he's the one who's actually pulling her, trying to get her to go to school with him and all that. You get the idea that everything is okay between her and her husband. Maybe life as they've grown older, life has sort of worn them down. And you find out that there was something traumatic that happened in her past with a previous relationship that she had. Something traumatic happened with her at a train station, and they sort of seed this in throughout the first episode and through the whole rest thing. And there's a bit of it where then another mum shows up at the school, and this other mum shows up at the school, but this mum is a bit cagey as to who she is. She shows up at the school gate and she doesn't know the code of the gate, and she's trying to ask for the code of the gate of other mums, and you're asking, why don't you know the code? It was sent out in an email. And they set this whole thing up, which this isn't strictly a comedy. It's more of a kind of a mystery drama, so to say. Who are all these people? What is going on? So you have Daisy May Cooper, you have a husband, you have the son, they have this other mother who shows up, whose son is in her class, but seems to sort of sidle their way into their lives and becomes her best friend because she doesn't really have any friends. And then why is this woman coming into her life, and why is this woman every now and then clandestinely filming her on her phone, and what does that link to? And so there's all these things that come in, and it becomes a very sort of domestic. They're somewhere like the Cotswolds. I'm not sure it's exactly the Cotswolds, but they live somewhere like the Cotswolds. And because this is some of a very domestic mystery of why are all these people doing all these different things? Why does this woman who showed up seem to know her husband? Why? And and it carries on for about 6 episodes until you figure out exactly what happens. As you might notice, I'm trying to be a little bit coy so as to not give away spoilers. And so when it comes to, this was a weird one for me. It was a weird one for me because there were bits of it that I was liking. There were bits of it where I was thinking, get on with it. There were bits of it where I was thinking, where I wasn't sure. They did some things where this is what usually happens in this kind of TV show, and they set it up and then they go in a different direction. And I would usually think that, theoretically speaking, I should like that. I should like the fact that they didn't do what has always been done. But then they did this, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that. When they switched it, it's kind of almost kind of like what? Really? That's it? I was expecting more. I was expecting fireworks. So I think the performances are good. I think especially the child actors, the guy who plays the son is really, really good. And I would recommend it. And it's one of those things that I would begrudgingly give a 4. I'll begrudgingly give a 4 because I can look at it it's good. It's good. It's well put together. They've done some clever narrative things, but I am not entirely enjoying it. So yeah, it's one of them. So I think that there's some stuff it says that might have something to do. I'll tell you, okay, there's some times when I'm watching TV that I get worried that I am a bit. I get worried that there's a little bit of a misogynist in me. And so sometimes when something is created by a woman and comes from a point of view from something else, I don't know whether I'm just reacting to, oh, this is not the way I've always seen it before, and therefore blah, 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 therefore I don't like it. Or if it's actually genuinely something different, or it's saying something about a female situation that I just have no access to understanding. I don't know it, and it happens like that sometimes. So essentially, what I'm saying is, I'd like you guys to watch it and tell me how much of a misogynist pig I'm being. But having said that, I do think I would give it a 4. I do think it's a good show. It unfortunately sets itself up. Well, it leaves it in such a way that it could have a second season, or it could stop. Or that could be where it stops. And I think, like most of these things, it would be a lot more powerful if it stopped. if it didn't come back for a second series. But that's Am I Being Unreasonable with Daisy May Cooper on BBC iPlayer.